A bill that would provide special programs for state prisoners raising small children. Details at 2 o'clock on News Radio 1200 WOAI.
Mark Stein in for Rush, America's #1 radio show. Let us go to Bernie in Alaska, in Kenai. I think that's a little bit west of where we're going to be on the Mark Stein cruise. Kenai's sort of on the coast, halfway between the Yukon and the Bering Straits. Is that's the right general part of the world, is it, Bernie?
Not too far away, Mark. And if your cruise ship stops on the Kenai Peninsula, I'm gonna stop over and shake your hand.
Okay, we'll swing by your place for lunch. I'll head up and steer the ship over to your pad. What's on your mind today, Bernie?
Well, I'm calling to hear your thoughts on the following. Before I retired from the Drug Enforcement Administration, I spent 10 years working on the Arizona-Mexico border. I worked with, among other people, Border Patrol Agent Brian Terry, who was murdered by an illegal alien down there. So whenever I hear Rush talk about the wall, I pay attention. And Rush said last month that 42% of the Americans today favor the construction of the wall. Last week, there was a poll that said 52% of the Americans favor the construction of the wall. And I heard Rush say 25 years ago, I've been a long-time listener, 25 years ago, Rush said that 30%, only 30% of the Americans favored independence from Britain. And of course, we know how the Revolutionary War turned out. My point is that there's more Americans that favor construction of the wall to help save America than there was a percentage of Americans who wanted independence from Britain. In the campuses, on the campuses. Well, in 1776, we knew who the enemy was. The enemy wore red coats. Today, the enemies are on the campus, they're in the classrooms, they're in the cars when we drive, they're in our homes 24/7. And so, what are your thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, well, to a certain extent, those numbers about Americans who favoured independence from Britain bring up a little bit of unpleasantness for some of us, Bernie. But you are actually right. In New York State, for example, an overwhelming majority of the population in New York State were loyalists. And after the revolution, a big chunk of them actually upped sticks because they were on the losing side and fled north. And if you are on the north shore of Lake Ontario, around Kingston, all the way over then to Toronto, that's sort of loyalist country. In fact, they've got the main road there is called the Loyalist Parkway, and the county is called Loyalist County. And if you go to beautiful Niagara on the lake, they just put up a brand new sign hailing themselves as a prosperous loyalist community. They're the guys who weren't in favor of the revolution, and as you said, only about 30% of the country was of the 13 colonies was, and that's an important lesson. Because it tells you that it's not a numbers game. It's about where the energy is, where the enthusiasm is, that makes things happen. It's not just a straight 51%, 49% thing. It's about who has the energy. And my concern is that right now we have, as you say, in one poll, we've got 52% of Americans who favor a wall. But we have an incredibly energized opposition to the wall, and that opposition to the wall has support in the media. It has support among some of these rinky-dink district court judges, to far too many of whom Americans are over-deferential. So the opponents of the wall may be a minority, but they have a huge amount of energy, and that goes to almost everything, Bernie, that liberals and progressives care about. Too many people on the conservative side shrug about things. Well, it's not that important to me. We'll see how it plays out. It's never going to happen. It's not a big deal. It's not the hill to die on. And as you said, Bernie, actually what matters is not whether you've got 51% of the people, but whether you've got the 30% of the people who are enthused and energetic about it and willing to impress their will even upon a majority of their fellows, Bernie. That's an interesting statistic you quoted there.
Well, you and Rush are a couple of today's patriots, so keep up the good work.
Thanks a lot, Bernie, and we will swing by, and I don't know whether I'm in a position to hijack a cruise ship and swing it over to Bernie in Kenai, but I actually like that. It's a very long time since I've been in that corner of Alaska, so I wouldn't mind seeing how it's changed. But it's a terrific